to the cloud.
No, Alan or Deb?
Not yet.
All right, you are good to go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. This is, we start promptly and end promptly. And, this is our Sustainability Board meeting for October. I'd like to welcome everybody. We have an audience this time. So exciting. Do we have a secretary volunteer for October?
I'll do it.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to borrow my glasses?
Okay. And what about the September minutes? I didn't see.
Joyce sent them out right after.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The only correction is she listed me correctly, as present, knowing that, but then she called me Mary Beth.
Oh, okay,
So that's the only correction that I had.
okay. Did she put those out? She did not put those out in the format. I wonder if that would be helpful to do that if we just rearrange, or it doesn't matter. Maybe it doesn't matter.
I don't think she posted them on the, Google Drive.
Okay,
On the city site.
let's make sure that, they get posted.
Okay.
Do you want me to do that?
Would you please? Okay, that would be great. With that one correction. Okay, everybody, do we have a quorum? We don't have Chelsea
Do
here.
we?
I don't think we do.
Is Alan on?
yay.
One's there now.
Oh, good.
Oh, wonderful.
Is
Thank
it
you.
Chelsea, or are you just here as an audience?
I'm here as an audience, but
Okay.
I'm happy to, if you need me, I can be Chelsea.
No, not if it, is Chelsea a voting member though?
Maybe so.
No.
Yeah, so she.
Council members
does-
are not
yeah.
board members, so,
Deb, who's-
oh, good.
oh, we lost that one.
Oh, we really need, I would like to have Chelsea.
They're the same
Yeah.
person.
You're the same person. You know that.
We're good. And, okay, so, do we have anybody on?
Deb.
Deb. Hey, Deb, how you doing?
Hi there.
We're looking for approval of, Mary Dale is going to do the October minutes, thank you very much. And, we're looking for a vote to approve the September minutes that Joy sent out.
Correction. I move.
With
Move.
one correction.
Second it, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, looks good. Okay, so that is done. Any public comment on agenda items? Kind of a... Okay, good. Moving right along. We do have old business here, but we have new business. We'd like to switch the order of old and new business, so these folks don't have to, can leave. Uh-oh. Deb, can you hear anybody?
No, I was talking about, my husband was vacuuming flies.
Okay.
Couldn't hear.
Okay, so we have,
Sorry.
would you spell your last name? I'm not sure if I spelled it right.
T-S-E-H-I-D-A.
Hey, great. And you are?
Oh, Kathleen, Kathleen, Healy, Healy.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here, Tom. This is your second time.
Yes, the second time.
I know.
But it
Amazing.
might take
the charm.
It might take 3 times, but anyway.
Okay, so we want to find out, please, you presented something about CPACE a couple of years ago, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were waiting for county approval about that. Somehow that has changed, and it's city approval at this point, and so we're really kind of interested in what exactly is CPACE and how is it going to benefit our city?
Sure, of course.
Okay?
Yeah, can Deb hear me online okay from here? Deb knows about CPACE already anyway, but.
I can hear you, Tom.
Okay, good. Well, thank you, everybody, for having me back again. My name's Tom Sheeta. I live in Bridger. We also own the Bridger Motel, and that's sort of how this is connected as a commercial property. And as you know, we have Matt Healy here from the Roosevelt, too, a supporter of the program, and we'll get to that, too. So I'll just kind of go through what it is and how it works. I'm here actually as a member of CCRC, Carbon County Resource Council, which is a local nonprofit grassroots group that does clean air and water, healthy soils, et cetera. But CPACE, so first handout has the acronym on it, just so you guys can remember here if you want. There's that one, and just some of the general info out there. But it's Commercial Property Assessed Capital Enhancement. I know that's like a crazy mouthful. But what it is a commercial loan program. It's just, and 95% is just a straight commercial loan program. But it's designed to encourage energy efficiency programs, clean energy, renewable parts programs, retrofit, new construction, remodels, any commercial property fits. The only things that don't are state and government buildings and less than 4 household residential properties. So basically almost everything else can count. And that's why we were interested in it as a motel. The main difference between just the regular commercial loan program that anybody gets and then it's attached to you is it's run through the state. There's a state agency, the Montana Facility Finance Authority, that sort of administers the program. So there's an audit that looks at what kind of upgrades you're doing, and the whole point is that program has to pay for itself. So the upgrades you do have to save you enough money that makes up for what your previous utility bills were. It either has to balance out or be better. So that's kind of how the state is involved in the program.
Is that like immediately, or do they look at that
Over the
time?
lifetime.
Oh, okay.
Yep, over the lifetime, yeah, good question. And then it's paid back by an assessment on your property taxes. So that's the other difference. And that's where the county comes in, because that's, for a city program, it still would have to go through the county.
Yeah.
But I'll explain kind of where we're at with the county conversation too. So.
Wait a minute.
Of course,
Can I
Okay.
ask you a question while she's?
yeah.
We have a building in Bridger. I was wondering, with the solar on it, do you
Oh.
get that retroactive?
Retroactive,
Yeah.
for, they say about 2 years is the
Okay.
retroactive window.
And who would I talk to about
If we get it in the county,
it? County.
it'll have to be in the county for you to be able to benefit from it,
Okay, so.
which we're also working on.
All the commissioners, okay, they've had quite a few presentations.
Yeah, I can go through the history of this a little bit
They'll
and
know
sort
what
of tell you where we're at with that too.
Okay, I am unclear what role the county and/or the city plays in this.
So the
That
state,
doesn't make sense to me.
the state had to authorize the program at the state level and say, okay, we'll do it here in Montana, because then it's a state agency that does it, the Department of Commerce. Then every county has, and city can, any municipality can. The counties have to approve the program independently in each county.
Because they're involved in the tax
In the
collection
tax,
of getting it
exactly.
back.
And they're the ones who transfer it then through the state to the banks and the lenders. So there's 16 counties who've already done it. There's like 3 or 4 other ones in process, and there's 2 municipalities that have done it themselves, Kalispell and Whitefish. Both have done it on their own. If I remember correctly from talking with the state, Helena was going to do a program, but then the county said, oh, well, if you guys are gonna do it, we'll probably do one too.
Oh.
So like right now, I think Lewis and Clark County is another one of the in-process counties. So the state authorized the program, in 2021. And since then, we have been talking on and off with the county. We approached the county, I guess it was a couple of years ago, right before the flood. So we went and talked to them, literally like a week or 2 before the floods, and so we didn't get back to them for a year. We kind of just let it sit for everybody's purposes. We went back and talked to them this spring, in April, I think it was. Honestly, they're sort of like shrug about it. One of the commissioners is kind of opposed to anything like this, and one had some good questions that we're still in the middle of figuring out with the state. They're interested in a provision for backup for certain clean energy projects. This isn't just a clean energy program, it's for any kind of energy efficiency upgrades, but solar, I'll have some case study examples I can talk to you about too. New windows, new lighting, new insulation, all that kind of thing. It's basically like retrofits for old downtown brick buildings. It's sort of like the perfect spot. And a good example will be right too here is the Roosevelt too. We have garnered lots of local support to the Beartooth RC&D. Of course, the the chamber supports it. Tom Coons wrote a really nice letter for us. He said, even though he doesn't need the program nowadays, he said starting out, or he could really see how certain kinds of businesses would really benefit from it. Beartooth RC&D had good conversations that talked about how when there are businesses looking to locate, they often look for these kinds of programs. They'll look for loan programs and grant programs and PACE and this kind of stuff in a place to decide if they want to move in. Sure.
Are municipalities able to be involved at all, or just commercial because of the taxes and paybacks?
Just commercial, because, yeah. I wish I knew about any other programs for just municipal.
Yeah.
There might be. And then local business-wise, so when we were working at the county level, I was interested in for our motel. But when we were talking to the city, especially the Roosevelt for one, is very interested, I'll hand it off. And we also had a sawmill with Everyday Foods and the Headwaters Studio that they're building, that new building, they were interested in it too. We approached quite a few other businesses and the Downtown Business Alliance too. And there's interest, but it's sort of hard when you can't like point to a real program. So there was kind of general interest about it, and I think we would commit to pushing it more if it was implemented. I will hand it over to Kat to talk about the Roosevelt idea a little bit, and then I'll talk about some case studies too.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm at the Roosevelt. It's a very inefficient building. As you guys know, it's huge. It's probably the size of a couple Costco's. And we've been doing our best to upgrade when we can, when funding allows. And so we're able to use some Northwestern Energy money to put in solar, and we joke it's the best tenant that we have at the Roosevelt because it pays us on time. And it's actually been incredible to watch our operating costs go down. And so using that, it would be great for anyone who would be living in the city with a commercial property to also upgrade. We have only done the auditorium with LED lights, and we've seen a huge payback on that. We didn't do it with any financing, we did it with direct donor donations, but this is a way for us to be able to start projects and not immediately only use the payback to pay for them. So it's a no cost. Like, we wouldn't be taking a donor away from a programming project to help us with this building. It would just be paid for by itself, which it's kind of a complicated program, but when you look at it just for what it is, you use the payback that you would be saving in all of your utility costs to cover what all of the total loan amount will be. A lot of green projects won't be financed by regular financing, which is why they created this program. And that's why the state is encouraging people to do that. And I think as a good steward, looking towards the future, that it would be great for us. I can see the mountain, the golf course, a lot of places that have old inefficient buildings that are still dependent on HVAC systems from the 90s, which we call that our new building. Anyway, there's only one guy who will work on it. His name is John from Conditioned Air. And there aren't very many pneumatic people who actually service these, so I can see us having a lot of problems with that in the future. And so it'd be nice to be able to come into this century and look towards the next 100 years.
I had some good case studies just recently in Montana, and these two are really good examples of kind of what you can do with the program. You know, really just a good economic development, revitalization sort of program. Here, one is a motel in Sweden that just did solar. Simple program, what they consider small, like $300,000. And there are other just solar on motel programs in the works in Montana. And the other one is the downtown buildings. In fact, that's a big one. What do they call the actual building? I can't remember. The Hidden Empire building. It's on the
Wendy's.
Is that what it is? I know.
With the 80s.
I know about where it is down.
That's what we call Corey's place, is the Hidden Empire.
Yeah.
I like it. So, like that downtown one, they're doing heat pumps and windows and panels and plumbing fixtures and lighting upgrades. It's a 1.6 million program, and they're talking about 4 times savings for the project cost. Like, that is a fancy CPACE program, honestly.
Yeah.
And a really neat example. The other one, like I said, is just like a simple solar one, but you finance it a lot of different ways. You can use your own bank, like if a commercial business already has a relationship with a bank, they can work with that through the state. There's these third-party folks, like in fact, the business in Billings use this All Electrify, that kind of helps shepherd programs. So I think they connect banks with the states and they help everybody. I think that's how they did this one, the commercial owner. That's kind of a quick idea of how the program works. I think it would be great for a place like Red Lodge. It kind of is a no-brainer. We wanted to do it in the county because some of the other towns we thought would benefit from it too. And I think ultimately we can get there. We're sort of in the middle of it with the county, honestly. It was, it's been, you know, a complicated conversation with them, as you might imagine. But we are still, I'm waiting actually to hear back from the state about, because they had a complicated question. And in fact, the state's talking to their attorneys and things to see how we can maybe work it for their question to implement it.
Is this also designed for ag, which
Oh,
surely
yeah,
appeals
good
to other places across Carbon County?
Yeah, countywide.
So water, upgrading, any kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, almost anything counts under the program when it's agriculture related too, so new pivots, that you can do a lot of different things with it for agriculture too.
So I have a question, I've got several questions. The county still has to approve it,
Not for you guys to do it in the city.
not for us to do it as a
Create our own
city.
I thought they had to
Isn't that
approve
right?
it just for the taxes portion of it, the involvement.
What I understand from the state, because I have the same kinds of questions, and she said, no, the irony is that it's like a municipality wants to do it, the county's just gonna have to handle that part of the tax assessment for you.
Okay.
The county will handle that.
Yeah, because
Well,
it's still
they
a
collect the
property
taxes.
tax.
Mhm.
But they get told they have to, they don't get to vote on it.
Yeah, but if the municipality decides to do it, yeah.
Okay,
That's my
so that's how that
understanding.
works.
Okay, I have another question. On the website, there's a quote that says, the city or the county, whatever it is, can charge, fees for, financing. What, you know, it sounds like kind of a hidden fee, that makes me a little nervous.
Oh, sure. No, good question.
What would?
Anything actually gets rolled into it by the state. So like an independent audit, the cost of the installation, all the materials, and then whatever a county or city wants to assess as a fee, all gets factored in by the state. And it's still, that bottom line number still has to make sense and pay for itself.
So that basically, if there's an overhead cost, we can charge because we have to have staff administer
Yep, it
it.
can get rolled in.
And that, but that just is a cost that has to be offset by expenses. So,
Yep.
so I'm back to, but this, what is the role of the municipality being involved? Because it's really not gonna be the municipality, it's the businesses in the municipality.
Yeah, exactly. Really,
That's the opportunity.
the city itself has to do like a resolution and say, we're gonna implement this program and do like a 30-day comment period. The state can help us with all that stuff. But then, yeah, actually, the city's role,
Thank you.
Is there a cost to the city at all?
only if you wanna add an administrative fee for anything, but actually, no, I don't see where there would be. It's purely the county tax property assessment.
And the way this is paid back is through payback, through, you know,
The
payback,
savings.
the savings,
That
the
means-
energy
right.
savings.
Exactly.
So that business
Right.
goes belly up a year from now. Is the municipality on the hook? Is the, what happens to all that loan money that doesn't get paid back anymore?
The beauty of it is that it's attached to the property instead of like the owner, the commercial owner, or whoever it is, me owning the motel. It stays with the property, and so they, the default rate is like 0. The state has said there's never been an issue in any other.
So rather than the business
Either.
going out of business, let's say, I don't know, a flood
Mhm.
comes through and takes out the building.
The same as any other
Insurance.
issue with a loan on a
Mm-hmm.
property, honestly.
It goes through a bank, so it's not
Right.
like the city
Right.
isn't putting up any money.
Right, it's still,
It's an
just
agreement with
nor-
the
It still
bank.
works just like a normal commercial loan for a property, right?
So, excuse me for being simplistic, but it seems like CPACE is kind of the middleman here between the, business and the finance.
It is.
So, what is, I don't get that, the CPACE
Like
role.
why?
Yeah, why and what is your
Do you guys have
role?
an administrative that gets rolled into it?
Right, how does that work?
The state department that does it, I think it's just part of a standard state agency, like they don't add something to it. And the counties, treasurers in other counties have told us that it's such a minimal thing to administer, they usually aren't bothering with a fee either. I see the big differences are things like if you can't put up a lot of your own collateral to get a loan, if you're a newer business trying to do it, if it's the other example we've seen is that, like, say you expect to not own your business for 30 years to pay back this loan, you're gonna sell it maybe in 5 years. You might not wanna do it, you might not wanna do these energy upgrades because it would just be your own loan. But if you do it and it's attached to the property, then voila, you can sell it whenever you want, long-term plan, you don't have to worry about that step. They also are talking about, because of the audit program and being through the state agency, they're getting better rates because the banks like it, it's a much more stable system. So people are getting better rates, they said, too.
And I imagine the audit process is pretty, intense,
Yeah, there's,
pretty thorough.
they're doing third-party ones if you want. The state has folks they can refer you to for inspections. They're doing this because there's only been, I don't know, I can't give you a number exactly how many are in the process in the state right now because they won't tell us till they're done. But I noticed the one third-party verifier for the one in Butte was NCAT. So it sounds like NCAT must have been involved and said, they look at your utility bills. They do a full, overview of the whole project to see if it's gonna pay for itself or not. And I could imagine where things are denied, they might say, no, but, in fact, our motel is probably, it was built in the 40s, but mostly they want new windows. It could use a new roof and some other things too, but they might look at it and say, the cost of all this isn't, the savings that you get from this might not offset, so it might not be a program they approve. But like this one downtown Billings is a big obvious one, sounded like they did lots of great upgrades. But just solar on a building seems to be one that is a pretty easy verification. Like you're gonna save this much electricity by doing it, and it's gonna pay for itself over the life of the panels and the loan, so.
So this is a very simplistic example, but, okay, so, because I'm a simplistic person. Say I borrowed $100, and then, and my loan was $100, or whatever. I pay back $100 a year. I pay back $100 a year, and I saved $20 in energy costs. So the $20 would go to pay for the loan, correct? Is that how that works? The $20 I save,
No.
the energy saving, because of the project that was implemented. I'm moving it way down.
You would still be paying back like a normal loan. So the energy savings are figured out at the beginning.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay,
So they're gonna do all the math and say, these panels, just as like a single solar.
Okay.
project. Like, in fact, the motel in Butte example, they're gonna look and say, these panels are gonna save you this much money, they're gonna cost this much money, so we're gonna do this loan for 200 and whatever thousand. And then whatever those loan rates are for whatever they figured out, a 20-year loan, that's what's getting paid back on your property taxes every year.
on the property
So
tax.
whatever that is, 2,000 a year,
Oh,
So
okay.
the only payment is property taxes.
Right.
And so that'll be
It's
in
an
the
additional
property
payment
tax.
on the
Yes.
property tax.
But-
Got it.
Property
But
taxes.
you made up those savings by putting the panels on, so you should see
You
those
should
savings
be.
yourself on the
Right.
other end. So-
Okay. Got it.
And I think the minimum,
Really?
loan is 100,000, is that right?
They're talking,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
and that
okay.
example was,
Okay.
I think some banks don't wanna do anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Big programs.
Got it,
That's sort of the number they were throwing around, yeah.
but it's not hard and fast, or,
Right,
okay.
right.
So, if this board takes a look at this and, we're all into energy savings and all that kind of stuff, and, we decide that this is, a wonderful thing, a wonderful opportunity for our commercial businesses here in town, we would like to recommend to council that they take a look at this. I mean, this is a process here, right? Government works slowly. And, but I just want a lot of assurance that the county doesn't have to be involved at all.
Well, we could talk to Whitefish and Kalispell. Might be good to
Yeah, that's a
check in
good
with Whitefish and
starting point.
Kalispell, because they did the same thing. The county wouldn't approve, so they created municipal districts in the city, so their businesses could
Would they
move forward.
be municipal CPACE districts then?
Yeah, that's what they are,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay,
Yes,
That's what Red Lodge would be.
so
okay.
it might be good to,
Whichever way you wanna
Yeah.
handle the process, we're happy to help. We could get you that kind of information before, if and when you wanna talk to the full city.
mhm.
I'm sure that Carolyn Jones, who runs the program at the state, would come down and present it much better than I do, because she knows all the ins and outs and some of the real technical kinds of details too.
Okay.
And they have on the site, they have laid out the, letter to take to the council, the first one, and then
Yeah, they have
actual,
examples of how to
how to-
implement the program,
mhm.
so they have all the.
and when you have public input, stage.
How to actually implement.
Yeah.
So I would like to suggest that we recommend that the council start, exploring this. And maybe, is it Kathleen could come and talk?
Our name's Carolyn Jones.
Carolyn,
We're happy
Carolyn,
to connect you
yeah.
guys.
I think it's a little early for that. I
Yeah,
think we
that'll
need to
be-
plant the seed right now.
Right.
So just make the recommendation?
I think we can plant the seed and then,
I was hoping Chelsea would be here.
yeah.
They
I
have
think,
a substitute council member.
oh,
that could
wonderful,
relay it.
okay.
Thanks,
So I
Kristen.
think maybe a first step would be to, present to the board that there is this opportunity, and the Sustainability Board is very interested in pursuing it, looking into all the details, and considering Red Lodge being a CPACE municipal
Yeah,
district.
I'll update, we have we have kind of a standing agenda item for, Public Works
Wonderful.
of sustainability.
Great.
So, and luck would have it, I'm on that. and
Oh,
Jesse.
Thank you
So-
for being here.
So could we talk about that tomorrow at Public Works, at the Public Works meeting tomorrow? Talk
Right.
about this and just say, this is something we're exploring, and we would like to invite, Public Works to explore this as well. I don't know if it's,
Well, they-
is this
they don't really have-
Public
It's
Works?
not- I would say,
I
are
don't
you
think
on
it's Public
admin
Works.
too?
Yeah.
To me, I think this is
Admin.
more an admin and finance,
Yeah.
because what we're doing is, we're backing a program that would be available to commercial businesses to use. So I think admin
Right.
and finance is probably where we
Yeah,
fit.
that would be great.
Dave, do you foresee it being just like, we approve, we authorize the mayor to look into this, or how would you envision?
Well,
what
no,
our-
I think ultimately what it would be, from what I'm hearing, and there's a letter that's out there, I'm assuming they probably have a draft resolution already
Yeah.
created too.
Yeah.
And if we could get a copy of that draft resolution, then what can happen is, to go back to Corey's comment and observation, is that draft resolution goes to the Admin and Finance Committee.
Okay.
That, by the way, if there could be a copy of it before tomorrow,
Mhm.
they can be,
Yeah.
they can be looking at it. It really wouldn't,
Yeah.
it'd probably be
Um,
one more time, because it would be on their agenda that we're looking at CPACE.
Mhm.
Then they talk out of it. That committee then says yes at the next council meeting in the council. So we do business up front, and then the council, the majority of the meeting is the council talking about the stuff that's gonna be in the next meeting.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then they could talk about it as a whole and say, this is why we're doing it. That's gonna be people, there's gonna be a couple people on council who are gonna say, why would we not do this? Why is not every city doing this? What is the fine print that they don't
Sure.
put out there when they're selling it?
Sure.
And then and then the next meeting. So it's basically, you're looking at 3 meetings
Okay.
Yeah.
where the standing committee would say, yeah, this sounds good. Hey, all council, we want to put this on the agenda next time. And then the council would say, yes, we passed the resolution.
Which one of those would you like the state
Yeah.
folks?
I would probably say the middle one of those, where it's in the council business discussion of it,
Okay.
because that's where the questions come up that people can then go do homework on for 2 weeks, so they feel comfortable voting on it. Chris, would you agree with that assessment, that it would be that middle one?
Yeah, 'cause
Where they-
we can't talk about it tomorrow at the admin,
Sure.
And so you're
I guess
probably
we can't
talking,
really
you're
put it
talking,
on the agenda.
you're talking 2 weeks from tomorrow, before they would come to do that.
Um,
No, actually, 4 weeks from tomorrow.
and she could Zoom anytime.
And Zoom would be
Yeah.
fine.
She'd even come down though, I'm sure.
Yeah, she
Actually,
said she
she's
would
happy to
be.
travel around to do them
Yeah.
too, so.
As I'm sitting here right now, I'm not hearing the negative side, other than, the only part of me that is all tricky, that I think there needs to be homework, is fully understanding what administrative element there is that is by office staff.
Sure.
And if there's anything at all, we need to build that into it, which sounds like it's not a problem. But do we say 0.5% or 1%, or is it a flat fee? I don't know what the mechanisms are.
Sure.
But that, to me, is the only thing that I would see as concern, is if staff is doing anything at all, then that needs to pay for that effort.
Sure.
And if it's like a CDBG grant, then it's just basically a pass-through on.
Yeah, and if it's and we have things that we come through that we don't charge overhead, even though we could, because there isn't a justifiable thing that, you know, if staff has to do something, if staff has to spend 30 minutes on it every month checking on something, there's gonna be a cost. If it's filing the resolution as passed, no, that doesn't count.
Okay. And all good questions that the state can help us do, she'll have a feel for, especially at the municipal level, how some of it works.
I didn't really hear, I heard you say the county seemed not excited about it, but I didn't hear that they articulated a reason about why they weren't, or do you know?
Go
I
ahead.
would say, I think that it's a complicated program, and they were a little bit in the weeds on the first time they were really concerned about adding a code to their software program to put the special tax, but since then, we've talked to the person that runs that through the same program that they use, and they said that's actually not difficult, and that they're pretty easy to implement. So I think they're hesitant.
What, to your point, I don't know that the city would need to build in a maintenance cost. I can see the county requesting us to
Right.
build it in, that we pass through to them for doing that extra effort.
Oh, maybe, sure.
Yeah.
The other, the commissioners were, I think it was hard to demonstrate real obvious broad support, because if you don't have a specific business saying, this is the project I want to do. And on the other end, it was hard to convince businesses that what this project is, if it's not something they might ever be able to do. So we were sort of like caught in the middle about showing the interest, I think, to the commissioners. That was one of the tricky ones. And one is just ideologically opposed to, I'll quote, government being involved in business. So that's a tricky one, no matter what.
Yeah.
But one we're still having an interesting conversation with, he just wanted to see some kind of backup provision, and we're right in the middle of figuring out how the state can answer that question. So.
But a really exciting one was the brewery. And I think with the brewery, there'd be a great tie-in for
Yeah, Bridger
Brewing.
Bridger Brewing was actually the first big project in the state, the one that's there by Three Forks.
Right.
They were the first one in the state, and I don't remember, is it a $3 million project where they did wastewater treatment and a lot of other things all rolled into one big fee-based project? It was a really cool program. That was one of the first ones in the state.
Whoa. Okay, so we're
So
kind of looking
who-
at a timeline here. Go ahead, I'm
Get the
sorry.
resolution to.
Wait a minute, we got a timeline here. We've got, we have to get it to the standing committee, admin and finance. And that's, their meeting is, I'm looking at a calendar,
Tuesday, 9 a.m.
the 11th
Okay.
of November?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
Oh,
November 11th, and that's at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Okay, and,
they need the draft resolution.
oops, that goes right down there, sorry. And then, they need the draft resolution for that. And then, we probably, do we wait 2 weeks until we have a council, just discussion about this? Or we can't do that the same day, right? For the council meeting?
There's gonna be a standing committee discussion.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow, because that's the soonest available date. 2 weeks after that, then it'll be the full council.
That's 2 weeks, so that would
Wait,
be,
so did you say,
On the 11th,
could-
we
oh,
can
okay.
say this
The-
is what we talked about.
the 11th?
okay, so it would be on
Yeah.
the 26th.
the 11th is Veterans Day, y'all would meet anyway?
Yeah, you could do those in the same day.
Yeah. Question, I think we do still meet even though it's Veterans Day, right?
Veterans Day
Yeah,
actually falls
we don't,
on
We
Monday.
never rest, Miguel.
Okay.
yeah,
Just
so are you
checking.
talking about for you guys?
No, no,
For
for
the-
the admin committee.
Isn't Veterans
11/12.
Monday or
It's
the?
a Monday this year.
This would be on Tuesday. Sorry,
Our
I
meetings are
said
always
it's the
Tuesday.
11th.
That would be the 12th.
There's a standing committee that's on the 11th that we're still doing, because we'll come in and make sure the building's open. There's a standing committee on Veterans Day that said, yes, we still want to have our meeting.
The finance and admin.
No,
No.
because those are always on Tuesdays.
Okay, so that's on the
Oh, it is
12th.
actually the 12th.
The 12th then.
Is that where you got me? You said 11th, then? Okay, yeah, sorry.
11th and
Yeah, I screwed up, okay.
No worries.
So so it would be on the 12th, would be the standing committee, and then kind of, break it to the council. Introduce it to the council at that time, and
And that's the
then,
meeting you'd have the state people at, when you're doing
And
the
that
whole
would-
council.
that would be on the 26th, right?
The middle meeting,
The second November meeting.
Yep, November 20th, and state people there.
11 what, 26?
Yep. And then
Is that
the
2 days
council
before
would
Thanksgiving?
vote on it
On the first December meeting.
the 9th. Okay? Got it. So would you like to see the resolution soon? So you,
The draft.
the draft,
Just before the 12th, because I
Okay.
have to get it to Joey, she puts the agenda together.
great, okay.
Yeah.
But they could hand it out and talk about it tomorrow if there's something that's available. They
Oh,
can,
okay.
she can just introduce the concept, hey, this is
It's not on the
coming.
agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
No,
It's not on
but
the
you're not,
agenda.
you're also not making any decisions or anything. I said, you can just introduce and say, hey, we're gonna talk about this next time.
Okay,
New business.
well, then if I
Okay.
can get
Yeah.
it tomorrow, sure. Good for it, I have it somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
It's on their website.
It's on the website.
Well, and we're happy then to coordinate and get the state, we'll tell them the 26th for right now. and-
Okay,
Mhm.
wonderful. That's Thanksgiving week, that's hard, but, you know,
But if
whatever.
they're zooming, it's
Yeah,
okay.
if it's Zoom, easy.
Yeah, okay, perfect, yeah.
Yeah. What time? Is that also 9 a.m.?
9 a.m.
No, the 26th.
No,
Oh,
6
no.
PM.
6 PM.
Council is 6.
And that would probably be in the vicinity of 6:30 to 7, probably, because that would be after the business portion of the meeting, which we try to get done within the first half hour to an hour.
Okay, no problem. I'll put it on their radar and then. we can
Oh,
shift
that
it
would be
around
great.
or whatever.
And if that doesn't work, we just push it back
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Right,
No problem.
right.
And she's real flexible and happy to talk whenever.
okay. And the admin and finance committee might have some questions.
And
Right, yeah.
And I, in the meantime, have added it to my notes for Thursday when I meet with the commissioners, just to get a feel for what their concern and.
Yeah, find out what
Yeah.
the hangup was.
It's all in that big document.
That's
So
great.
I added that to my notes for Thursday when I meet with the commissioners.
Okay.
Just
Well,
to kind of
yeah.
say, hey, we're looking at this, what were the concerns, and,
And I told them, that, that we were gonna talk to the city too, because there's interest there too, and, that's when actually Commissioner Bullock responded to me with another question.
I see the city's role as being somewhat not significant here. I think your CDBG grant is a very common, or very valid comparison.
Yeah, honestly, it would just be a great step. I think, I got the impression from the state that sometimes when the cities were showing interest in doing it, then the counties got more interested too,
Yeah,
also, so it's just another way
So,
to approach
hard to
some
take
of
that
it.
step and then,
Could Bridger vote to, do it?
But I remember when they talked about it had to be incorporated,
Yeah.
that might have been the only,
Oh.
I think you have to.
the only
incorporate.
step. Bridger's incorporated,
Oh, there.
Joliet,
so I suppose
Robert?
cities could too. I mean, somebody that small. Good question.
Does this talk about a specific state code that addresses it? I didn't see.
It's on the website, on the state's website, at the bottom last page.
Okay.
They have actually all the specifics right on there. It's a good, kind of a single location.
Well, this is exciting. Thank you guys very, very much. Yeah. We've got a timetable, we've got
Yeah.
a, recommendation from all of us, and, we'll see if we can get this moving.
We're happy to, help
Yeah.
as it goes. My email's on there.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be
Get in
questions.
touch with me.
There'll be lots of
And
questions.
should you be my contact, kinda? I'll
Sure,
let you know
that'd be
what I hear
fine.
from Carolyn at the
Yep.
state. Okay.
And thanks, Kristen.
I'm
Yeah,
just trying to
thank
think
you,
which
thank you.
which businesses in town, like you said, would be the most likely to, because you kind of got to have some projects that are,
Examples, I understand. It is retroactive for new projects, that's one good
Right.
question.
I think the hospital.
I know,
The
that was one we never got
Mountain
to.
and Sam, the large ones would be good.
well, and I'm thinking like the Yodeler who's going through and doing
Yeah.
They
a
just got a-
rebuild right now.
They just got a grant too, or it's in the works.
But it's basically, you're taking a loan,
Mhm.
but the theory is the loan is gonna be paid for by, and it's the difference, so if this used to be your utility bill and now this is your utility bill, this much extra is gonna be coming out on your taxes.
Mhm.
Just yeah,
Yeah.
the same, it has to be at least enough.
Mhm. I mean, it stays
And so
with,
the reality is, from a
the property.
business standpoint, you're actually at a wash until the project pays
Or
itself
better.
back.
Yeah, or better.
Mhm.
So you can still, if they say that, let's say the Roosevelt has $20,000, just using that for utilities, and then you're only paying a small amount, each month, you could actually be saving way more.
Coming in.
But you're gonna
But
pay
it's
it,
back.
you're gonna pay it back in savings at the tax time.
Yep.
Term, yeah, and
Well, and
the
it stays
the
with the
retroactive
property.
for newer projects, the example is, it does have to be better than code. Like if
Oh,
you
okay.
just did a code water heater installation or HVAC system or something, that won't necessarily qualify. It has to be an energy efficient project of
Right.
some kind.
Mhm.
They have to be upgrades, like from just a basic code remodel or something.
And the
Yeah.
beauty of CPACE is those folks will come in and do the math and say, this is
Yes,
the payback.
yep.
Right.
Okay, that's
Between-
huge.
Between the
Yeah.
installers and the auditors and the
Yeah.
bank, everybody all sorts it out together.
Okay.
That's what I think is cool about the program, actually,
Yeah.
because otherwise, I'd have to figure all that out myself.
Right.
You know, having some actual oversight, I'm fine with, like, have somebody come in and look at these numbers with me.
Yeah.
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 And then state says, yep, that's great, and the bank comes in and does it.
This is not different from our energy efficiency audit that we proposed several years ago to council.
The difference, that's
Similar, yes, very similar.
municipalities.
That's
That's-
municipality.
That's the
That was similar.
municipality
But it's the
cost.
same,
It was.
it's the same concept.
It was.
This
Yeah.
group came in
Yeah.
and decided, this is a payback and with these
Oh.
local people and blah, 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 blah.
Oh.
So,
But we still needed the down payment, we needed the upfront money on that. Where
That's
this,
right.
There's no down payment.
right.
No, yeah, technically, no.
Okay, thanks. We got other stuff
Thank
to
you.
do
Thank
on
you very
our
much.
agenda. I really
You got
appreciate you
15
guys
minutes
coming.
to get
You're
through
welcome
it,
to
so.
stay
Yeah,
if
we're
you
gonna get
want.
through it.
Oh, you can get back to work.
We're gonna do it.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
thank
Never
you.
remembered where that was.
Do you have everybody's email that you need?
I have-
Yeah, and I can,
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, we do. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
Oh yeah, it's not 5 yet, you can still get out that door.
Okay, on old business, we need to look at the current and potential city solar projects with Northwest Energy. We've, got a bit of a conundrum here. Oh, brother. Dave, I'm gonna try and, paraphrase this, and I wish we had copies of this for everybody. And primarily, I'm gonna get the numbers wrong, but, Mike Maples was astute enough to combine our two Northwest Energy projects. One is the restroom, the solar on the restroom, and the second is the solar on the carport.
Mhm.
Now, we're asking Northwest Energy for the solar, and then, we're taking a look at what the carport would cost, because that's where the solar would be. And the problem is, help me out here,
So two things, what he did is, they got in and talked to Northwest Energy and the engineers.
mhm.
Rather than doing two projects, they combined them into a single project. There were two factors, all of the solar panels then fit on the carport,
For the
and they
restroom.
didn't have to get a variance
Oh.
there's a variance if it's because of where its location is on one or the other.
the
But-
restroom solar panels would fit on the carport as well?
Yeah, that's
Oh, I
all,
missed that.
all the
Okay.
solar panels are going on the
Okay.
carport
Okay,
and supporting that, and then it doesn't require a variance. But to build that at the commercial grade that it's necessary, the estimate we've got is $125,000.
And that's not in the grant.
That's, the grant was in the neighborhood of $40,000.
And was that just for the solar panels?
I think that was for the project, but the
Okay.
project is, and this is, anybody who wants, we can get a copy of this, or I can forward this on to Corey and have Corey send it out. Most of the numbers on here are very, very firm. The one that is not, when they talked about combining the EV charger service and public bathroom services into a single metered service, they just reached out, and that was a swag, and they said, yeah, it won't be over $10,000. So he put $10,000, which means that's probably a little bit high. And then he also just built in a 10% contingency, so it basically doesn't go overrun. You build that into it up front, and that takes that cost to $125,000
For the.
for both of them. That's the whole
Both of them,
project.
okay.
And,
Board
But-
and
but-
the-
but-
165 come from?
125?
125.
I thought you said 160.
No, 125. So 125
Better.
is, when it started out, the whole project, and this is just my memory, was like, oh, we're gonna need $44,000 or something. But that was like building, I looked up online how much it cost me to put in a carport, and then I times it by 4, which is, 4 home carports, not a commercial carport, or however it was, I can't speak to how it came with that, but I feel very comfortable with the research that Mike did in here, and I've shared the things. And it would also change, we'd probably lose 2 parking spots, I'm guessing, because those spots under the carport would be straight 90-degree parallels in. And there's some engineering documents and stuff on here. The concern is, and we still have on the agenda, we've got approving those 2 grants tomorrow. We've got both of those actions on them tomorrow, and as Corey and I were talking, I think part of that was because the deadline is November 1st for submitting those. Does that, anybody else remember a bell on that?
You're correct.
So, so then the problem is, if we're basically putting in grant requests for $44,000 for a $125,000 project, we did not build, we built in a match for the $44,000 project into our budget, not the $125,000. Corey was saying she thinks she remembers that it's like 3 years to get it built and done. But so then the next question is, do we think there's so I guess part of it is, and I'll let, we've got a member of council here. Do we still want to have council go through with approving though? And by the way, just because council approves them tomorrow doesn't mean we have to submit them, right?
Right.
That we still have until the 1st to say, no, we don't want to. But I think before we submit them, we ought to have an idea about where that extra $70,000 is going to come from.
Well, there's no cost tied to those, resolutions.
Right now, I said we can do the, we can do the resolution, but if that, before that grant gets turned in on the 1st, we ought to have an idea of how we're gonna pay for it, because my understanding is you don't wanna be applying for a bunch of grants that you never act on because it comes back and bites you in the future. And so we ought to be looking at somewhere, where are we gonna come up with an extra Now, what I don't know is if those grants, Chris, do you remember, do those grants actually have a price associated in do those grants have a dollar amount in it?
And it was 10% of the total amount.
But-
And it was like nine.
Well, that's, now you're talking about the budget. The resolution is just, yes, you can apply for the grant.
Yeah, right.
Can the grant be
We
changed to
authorized-
say, we're applying for 125 and what happens?
Yeah.
I think we were deciding that we were gonna, disapprove no matter what. And then, depending on what the cost was, whether we were gonna apply or not. think that was our
Disapprove no
thought.
matter what.
We were
but I
gonna
thought approve
disapprove,
and apply means the same
And
thing.
we authorize you to apply for it, but you may not apply for it based on what the cost comes in
Yeah.
at. And that's, that may be the case for this.
Does it ever go back to council, when we finally submit the grant, and it's way more, will council see it again before?
If there's,
Well, I think we have to figure out where the funding is coming
Yeah.
from before we apply for it.
Yeah,
yeah, and that was my concern is the number, and we've lost them now, but, and I don't know that 44 is right. That's just what's sticking in my mind, was 40 or 44 is what Alan had kind of come up, or maybe that's how much money was available, and so that's just what he put in, I don't know.
who is building the carport, is that separate from Northwest Energy?
Yeah, we have it out, I don't know that he has the company name on here.
I'm gonna call Alan, because he would know,
Yeah,
and see if he's around.
Mountain Solar is, Montana Solar, probably MT Solar, but
and they
it's
would
in
build the structure as well.
I think so. That's who we
Okay.
reached out
He's
to.
unavailable.
Well, is
Mountain,
there another option besides the carport? If we're looking at solarizing the EV chargers, is there another?
Well, we can't put all the solar panels on the
On the
restroom.
restroom.
There's just not
Yeah.
enough room.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
too many panels.
Yeah.
I found the resolution, so
Okay.
one was a $900 matching fund, which means 10% would be 9,000. And the other one was 3,500, which would be 35,000. So yeah, you were right, 4,400 total,
Yeah, okay.
or 44, yeah.
so 44,000, so the resolution is basically saying, we will provide the match to get the 44,000,
Mhm.
but your project is 125,000.
And sort of a related question, this doesn't deal with getting the EV chargers to work. That's separate.
Those are, yeah, just getting, redoing the charging stations is separate from this.
Okay,
And that's funded separately from this too.
Right.
This was the grant to add the solar and the carports.
So, the mayor and Chris are uncomfortable saying, hey, we're gonna apply for this grant, we know we're short, but there are other grants available. We have, a very active grant seeker, which is Alan, you know, who is very astute at finding grants. Could we do it pending on, finding, a grant to, pay for the remaining balance of this project?
Or is it gonna be, or is it, and then, so it's not Dave, this is gonna be council.
Right.
Council may come back and say, we now have a penciled out project. We're not gonna approve this. If you come back to a grant that says you want us to pay for 10% of 125, first off, that's more money. That's not built into the budget this year. But come
We're
back
not
with
saying
that grant and we'll go find the money to do that. But I don't know that there's a value in approving $4,400 to match a 44,000 grant, which isn't even halfway through the project.
So the initial, discussion for the 44,000, that was to pay for panels and the new
That's right.
chargers?
And the structure to put the panels on. That was my understanding was that carport, and this is my recollection, so no, this was the project.
Mm.
So the new chargers are completely separate, and that's happening with or without this project.
okay,
That's a separate line item in the budget.
and that is
Okay,
going to
so-
happen.
And that is
grant-
happening independently.
So
of
the
that.
grant would not have to cover that,
No,
but the structure and the panels.
yeah, the project of building a carport with panels on it,
Mm-hmm,
to charge them,
mm-hmm. Right, to charge the
is
chargers.
to do it to the standards that we have to do it as a municipality, is $125,000, not $44,000.
44,000 sounds like the panels.
It would have to meet
Doesn't it?
all the same things that any other project.
Right, so the 125
Yeah.
would actually cover the structure and the panels.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
and the maintenance and the hookup, that's everything for that project, with the exception of the replacing of the two units, which is happening independently.
Okay.
So minus 44.
So if you had somebody who, if Alan can whip out his checkbook and say, I'll write a $70,000 check, and
Here's
now
Alan.
you're good,
There he is.
hey, sweet, is he able to call in?
Hey, Alan, how you doing?
Hey, we're not bad. We just got through the airport security at Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's
Good
why
for
we,
you.
that's where we dropped you.
We dropped you. Okay, Ellen,
Put it close so I read from
we
there.
don't have much time left, but we're having a problem with, the chargers and the Northwest Energy grant. The problem is, and Dave is here, he can probably explain it more succinctly than I, but, the project comes in, it was budgeted for $44,000, and it is now, with the, and that includes, we thought, were the solar panels and the chargers, and the structure, and now Mike Maples has come up with, and has done the math and reached out to several different contractors, and the carport itself, there's gonna be a disconnect between, but with everything, the entire project is now a $125,000 project.
So the only distinction from that is that does not include the replacing the chargers with functioning chargers. That's a separate line item already there. This
And
is
that's
just-
all, this, yeah.
This is, yeah, so that's separate of this. But the resolutions that we have on the agenda for tomorrow are basically to say, yes, submit the application, and yes, we will match the 10% for the 44,000. However, that's inadequate if the cost of the project is gonna be 125,000.
Oh, you're breaking up, but I think I heard, that's a big difference.
Yeah, it's a real big difference. And so, I guess, Chris Keys is here. Chelsea's not here, but Chris Keys is here. She's Chair of Public Works, as you well know. And, of course, Mayor Dave. And, they are, and understandably so, reluctant to push this forward without knowing where the additional $70,000 is gonna come from. $81,000. So I guess, the deadline for the Northwest Energy Grant is November 1st, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So we've got, we might have to, I guess I'm nervous about this and pushing this through for council without knowing where that additional funding is gonna come from at this point. I think, I have all confidence in the world that, we as a sustainability board can find grants to do that, but we're not gonna get that done before tomorrow.
Sure, well, let's see, Kelly, let's back up. So, historically, over the last two, Northwest Energy grants we've gotten, Northwest Energy has generously paid for 99.0%. We've, needed to come up with 10%. And so let's see, let's work backwards. It's 140K, is that correct?
125K. So are you saying that if we submit the grant, you think they would pay 90% of the 125?
Man, I can't speak for them at all, but I know that the last two they did, and the one before that they paid 85%.
So then the ask becomes to council, rather than approving 10% of 44,000, we want you to approve 10% of 125. But now you're talking $8,000 difference, not $80,000 difference, which still has to come from someplace. Now we just have to get you talking along real well with the parks folks, because we end up shuffling money that was gonna go into parks to that.
And let's see, actually, I think, in the city budget, it was 5,000 that was approved for both the, carport and the restrooms. So let's see, what did we say, 12, don't have the math, but yeah.
125 is 12,500. That's, I can do 10% really easy in my head as a Mormon. That's really easy.
So Alan, Northwest Energy is, they're also funding the structure, not just the panels. They will fund the building of the structure itself.
So I remember reading about some other grants they have awarded to other applicants in the past, and they did pay for sort of ancillary things like the structures to hold the panels. I did ask them this question maybe 6 months ago, and they did not reply. So that's the information I have.
Does it all have to be done this fiscal year? I mean, could we do it over 2 or 3 years?
Didn't you say you had 3 years to do? Corey thought there was 3 years to complete the project?
The only reason I say 3 years is because we had the solar project here for this city hall, and it was put off and put off and put off for structural reasons and this and that and everything else. And finally, it ended up in the third year out at the water treatment plant. And they were nice enough to put up with us while we figured this out. And they kept the grant, and that was 3 years. So that's why I said 3
Yeah.
years.
And that would give us the ability, if they would pay 90%, but if all they're paying for is the solar panel, that's only $10,000 of this overall cost. If they'll pay 90% of the entire project, and they'll give us 2 years, now what you can do is you can set aside that $4,400 for this year, set aside $8,000 next year, and now you've got your 12,500.
That seems to pencil out.
But going back and asking them for 125 instead of 44 is a very big difference.
Well, we haven't asked them for anything.
That's right, but we have not asked them for anything yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know
They don't know.
anything.
Right.
Does this sound palatable to, council?
If it's a 2-year
Just to
thing.
me, I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the council, but.
Does it sound palatable that it might, at least, if we try for 125,000, all they can do is say no,
Yeah.
and then we go to Plan B, which is 44,000, and then next year, and then we figure out something for the remaining 81,000.
And is Alan aware that they've been combined?
Yeah, so this is for the two together as a single. Does it matter if they're one project or two for the grant process?
No, I imagine things would be simpler if they were one project.
Yeah.
That's what Northwest Energy came back and told us. And so this is a single project this way, and my recollection, and keep in mind I'm the middleman, but my understanding is this puts all of the panels on the carport as opposed to some on the carport and some on the bathrooms.
Correct.
And it is 36 panels as opposed to 24 or 23.
That's more than $10,000.
Okay, and hey, I'm just gonna say this, shooting from the hip, I'm gonna guess that the cost for 36 panels is gonna be a lot closer to 36,000,
Yeah,
just to
that sounds like
Put things in-
44,000.
ballpark, but I don't know. I haven't spoken with Henry Dykeman about it, but that's,
So what
That's
they
my
had, when they break it down, the 4HV one is 9,600. The 14.4 kilowatt array, maybe this is the panels. That's 46,000 is the panels, I think, for 36.
Yes.
Cause
That
that's
sounds more
14.4 kilowatt array, 2 7.7 inverters, shipping and labor to install.
yeah, that sounds like that sounds more correct than 10,000 for
And then
36
it's
panels.
80,000.
Isn't it the carport that's only 10 grand and this is the
Yeah, it couldn't be.
and then labor to excavate, pour all the footings and basically build the thing is another 44,000. So then what I'm hearing is that in order for council to do this, you guys would need to make some amendments to it to accommodate the budget. And my job is to run the meeting. I'm not making the decision on this.
So is it possible to amend the resolution, that's being presented tomorrow, Chris?
Yeah.
Can we
You-
amend?
We
you-
need
you-
some significant, revisions because
Yeah.
we have two right now and we have to combine them.
Right. I wish we knew if
But
Northwest
it's
Energy
basically
would fund
a
the
yes, you could have the right to apply. I think you still keep
Do we need to have the dollar amount in there?
didn't you say that there's a dollar amount in there now?
There is actually, I didn't
I
think
would,
there was,
I would
but-
say you put the dollar amount for both of them that's been approved.
So like 900 plus the 40.
Well, if it was 44,000, then it's 4,400.
It was 36. Hang on.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, you can do the math between now and tomorrow.
well, I just want to get this straight in my head so I can write myself some notes.
What we're gonna ask them for.
The other problem is, are they comfortable committing 10%, which I'm guessing they're gonna have to do the grant, knowing that part of that's gonna come out of next year's budget, or alternatively, come out of the parks budget?
So we just have to combine it and make it 4,400.
Or do you combine it and make it 12,500?
Well, But we don't have anything set aside for it.
Pardon?
We don't
We,
have
we
that
don't,
set
so you'd have to
aside.
pull it from parks and/or do it next year.
Next year, is what I'm thinking.
We think
Do
they'll,
the 4,400, like you said, this year, and then in the next budget,
And then can we do another resolution then, or no? Because that would be.
No, it's just that you'd approve it in the budget. You just approve an extra 88 in the budget next year.
we don't know if Northwest Energy is gonna like a 2-year project.
well, that's what Corey was saying, though. They granted us 50,000,
And we
you
just
know,
took it
and
one
it
time.
wouldn't work here, it wouldn't work here,
Yeah.
it wouldn't work here, and finally they took it back. But, right?
Mhm.
But they gave us some.
They do, yeah, some leeway.
They gave us a lot of leeway on that
Leeway.
particular
Hauling
water
time,
treatment
yeah.
project.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm,
It was altered
Yeah.
significantly,
mhm.
yeah.
So the discussion you're gonna have with council is gonna be, hey, when we put this originally together, we thought we had a $44,000 project, or 2 projects that totaled 44. We now have 125. We set aside in this year's budget, based on the 44. Are we comfortable that we can either switch it from something else and/or that we'll pass it next year to do it? Because once we commit to it, we're committing to do it if they come up with their 90% of 125. I'm always good for getting a buck out of a dime. That's easy math.
Yeah, so we could just combine these, and instead of, you know, it would be 4,400, but we can change it to 12,500, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I think would have to happen in order for us to submit a grant. They're gonna wanna see that we think it'll be 125,000 and we will commit to 10%. And then it's up to you to convince to convince 3 other council members to join you on that.
Okay. All right, well, we'll talk about it at Public Works and see what
Is that Public Works or is that admin?
Public Works.
That's Public Works.
Okay.
Okay, Ellen, it sounds like you're on vacation, but, if you have a chance to tune in to Public Works at 4:45 tomorrow, that would be really helpful because this is, significantly different than we anticipated. And we need to know before that November 1 deadline.
Yeah, I should be able to tune in tomorrow, no problem.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you
And
so much.
then the other alternative is, we now have a project, so we go looking for the next grant or the next available, because then we now know what it's gonna entail.
Right, right.
And can any of that money, I'm just thinking of that 40,000 for the excavation, things like that, is that something that Public Works could do and take out of their Public Works budget?
I don't think so. We're gonna build it out to, hi, you're gonna do all the foundation and base work, and then I'll come put a roof on it? No, who you gonna sue when it goes wrong?
Okay, thanks, Alan. You are the best. You enjoy your vacation in Santa Fe. That's a great place, and, we'll talk to you tomorrow, okay?
Thanks, Corey. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and
You
we'll
too.
talk to you tomorrow.
So long. Bye.
See ya.
So
You
where
handled
this
that very well.
stands is that Public Works will discuss tomorrow. There'll be a resolution voted on at City Council
Tomorrow night.
Right?
Well, it is
Oh, my
on the
God.
agenda. No, I was just gonna say, so it could be voted on, it could be tabled, but if it's tabled, then it doesn't make the,
Yeah,
if the deadline is
Yeah.
real, it needs an up or down vote
Yeah,
Right.
tomorrow. It needs an up vote to proceed, or it dies, and,
Okay.
yeah.
and we go back to Alan and say, here's the actual cost of the project, go find an appropriate grant for that. But,
And
like I
we
said,
just
there's,
postpone it.
there's,
But at least it's like ready to go now, and we know that the cost, Mike has spent a lot of time looking
Yeah.
at it, and
Yeah.
it's really, I think probably, like, he's the type of guy that's gonna be comfortable with that number.
well, he hired the professionals and said, give me a number on this, so.
Good.
Yeah, so we'll talk about it
Chris, if you need
tomorrow.
some help with this tomorrow, just let me know.
Okay.
Tonight
I
or
feel like
tomorrow.
I've got a pretty good handle on it.
Okay, good.
actually.
Oh, yeah.
So I think
I'll be,
right.
okay, you guys, we're done with, our meeting. We can postpone, I'm going to be at, Public Works tomorrow with, Joy's information about our commodities.
Oh, good. That was
Deb,
good.
do you have any information for us? Can you email us something, or
About commodities?
commodities? You and Joy were working on that.
Joy sent this out, I'll give
Yes,
it to you.
I'm
Corey.
talking to Deb
I
right
know,
now.
but here it is.
Oh, perfect.
I'll give it,
And that's
You can
Deb's
have-
there too?
This is from Joy.
Just Joy. Deb?
I think that's your Instagram handle, just join.
Deb, can you,
That's her email.
can you hear me?
I think it is.
Isn't it just Joy?
Deb, mute.
Yeah,
Deb?
that was really
The vacuum
interesting.
button.
That was good.
Deb, if
Okay,
you are
sorry, I
speaking-
got lost in the maze.
Okay.
But yes, I
sorry.
have some reporting. I'm not finished with, all my reporting. Mine was glass and, two numbers for that and, plastics also. And I can tell you a little bit about glass if you want, but, right now I haven't gotten the plastics part yet. Do you want that for
Would you mind,
tomorrow?
would you mind, emailing what you have for me? And
Sure.
I'll present it at Public Works tomorrow,
What time?
okay? Public Works is 4:45.
Okay. Yep,
So
I
I'll
will
need it-
email you, Corey, what I've got.
Thank you so much, Deb. All right.
Can I just echo that?
Yep.
The mayor asks me every week, like, when are you gonna do when are you gonna present the recycling overview for the year? And when he asked me about all this stuff, I really appreciate you guys stepping in to help with this. This is huge.
Did you get that from Joy?
Not yet.
Okay.
I haven't got the numbers right,
I can
but then
forward,
he tacked something else on.
I can
So-
forward that to you from
Yeah.
her.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
All
You
right.
need my email or?
Thank you, Deb. Are you waiting
Your
for
ward-
information about plastics? Is that what you're waiting for?
I think,
I just haven't had a chance to do my research on, about it.
Okay, okay. Well, give us what you
Okay.
got. That's great.
Yeah. Will
Okay,
do.
thank you very much. All right, and we'll just postpone all these other discussions, if that's okay with everybody,
is.
till next
Yep.
time? We're all good?
I would just like to clarify that what I was asking is, hey, you were gonna do this and I need to know when to put it on the agenda. I'm not like a mean taskmaster or anything.
I know you asked me, you want it this week, and I'm like, no.
This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everybody.
at 5:14 it's.
Yeah. Yeah, some tough notes.